Look, I built a media buying career to be free, but I ended up more trapped than ever, and this is how I got out. Now, I used to think burnout was just a corporate thing, suits, endless meetings, micromanaging bosses. But here's the truth: burnout doesn't care if you're in a cubicle or on a beach with your laptop. When I started freelancing, it felt like freedom at first. No more 9 to 5, no more office politics, just me, my skills, and whatever, the open road. Now, I remember those few weeks like a dream. I was working from beach cafes, sending invoices between swims, finishing client work while also watching sunsets on rooftops. And I felt like I hacked the system, While my old colleagues were stuck on a Monday meeting, eating their dry sandwiches, I was out there earning in euros, living a life like a king in Southeast Asia. But what no one tells you is freedom without structure eventually eats you alive. At first, it is the little things: replying to client messages during dinner, taking calls at 11 p.m. because, the time zone just makes more sense, missing workouts, skipping sleep, telling yourself I'll rest when things calm down, and all those type of stuff. And then it stopped being occasional. It becomes the new normal. Because everywhere I went, my laptop came with me, and not in a cool digital nomad way, but more like a leash I couldn't, take off. And I would open my phone first thing in the morning. I was already behind. Client requests, revisions, emergency calls, quick calls in between. And the worst part, I did it all to myself. I was kind of proud of being the guy who never dropped the ball, the guy who delivered at 2 a.m., who never said no to anything, who made it work no matter what. But, slowly the line between work and life just kind of disappears when you do that. I would be eating dinner with friends, nodding along, but mentally I was in this Facebook ad account because I forgot to change something. And, I would travel to new countries and barely look up from my screen. I wasn't living anymore, I was maintaining. And then one morning, I couldn't get out of bed, not because I was tired, but because I felt empty. I had built the exact thing I was trying to escape from, and that hit me like a truck. I wasn't free, I was just busy. See, nobody talks about the dark sides of this freedom life. You get to work from anywhere, but now everywhere becomes your potential workspace. You kind of escape the boss, but become your own worst one. You stop working for a company and end up working for your clients 24/7. Well, that was my wake-up call. I didn't quit my job to become a slave to my own inbox, so I stopped. Literally, I cleared my calendar, I dropped 2 clients that didn't respect my boundaries or time, and I started rebuilding everything with one question in mind: what kind of life do I actually want to wake up to every day? Not just how do I make more money than I already have, because guys, mind you, I was making shit ton of money running everything by myself. I had no people working anywhere. So I started asking myself, how do I still make good money without losing myself in the process? And when you ask that question, that's where things start shifting. I stopped selling time and I started building systems. I fired clients that drained me and doubled down on the ones that actually gave me energy, because those were there too. I blocked off Fridays completely. I started batch working and I took real breaks for once. And you know what's funny? My income didn't drop. It actually grew by 4x because I wasn't running on fumes anymore. I had clarity, I had energy. I could actually start think again, and that was rare. And when you're not constantly in survival mode, your brain starts doing something wild. It starts spotting leverage. See, media buying is one of the few skills where doing better work doesn't always mean doing more work. It's not physical labor, You can manage the same client for 3 months, and once your campaigns are dialed in, it's mostly maintenance. You're testing some small optimizations here and there. You're not clocking in hours, you're just delivering results to them. And when clients are making money from what you built, they want to keep paying you. It's not a one-off project, it becomes a recurring income. That's the benefits of a media buyer. And you're also not selling time, you're selling the growth for their business. So instead of juggling 20 nightmare clients and hit your income goal, you can also work with 5 great ones, charge more, and actually have time to live your life. Ta-da! And that shift changed everything for me. Suddenly, I wasn't surviving as a freelancer anymore. I was designing a business that worked around me. And that's what no one tells you. You don't need to burn yourself out to build something big or real or whatever. You need to be very clear on what you're building and for whom you're doing it. And listen, if you're freelancing or running a remote business and you feel that burnout creeping in, you know what I'm talking about? Trust me, it's not a sign to quit, it's a sign to realign yourself. You don't need more hustle, you just need better systems. Hustle is what gets most freelancers started, so it's a good thing, but it's also what burns them out at the end. If you want to actually stay in the game and you want to enjoy your life, that you're also building, you need structure, my friend. And that means setting real boundaries, and not just with clients, but also with friends who think, your time is always flexible, or in my case, with family who assumes you're free because you work from home. And most of all, with yourself, because being your own boss doesn't necessarily mean working all the time. You need to know when to actually log off, and also very important, not to feel guilty about it. And we need to stop equating success with always being on as well, because freedom isn't just about location. It's about knowing that your time is yours and that you work or that your work supports your life, not the other way around. And if you're sitting there thinking like, well, that sounds good, but I don't know how to build that kind of setup, well, feel free to join my community and course. It's free, by the way. There I show you how I restructured my business and what I actually sell, and how I make sure I don't go back to that burned out version of myself. The link is in the description if you want in. If not, cool as well. But don't ignore that feeling. It's trying to tell you something, because you don't escape the rat race just by changing jobs. You escape it by changing the way you structure and architect your life.